Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast, brought to you by East Central Educational Service Center, located in Newcastle, Indiana. We proudly provide service support and collaboration to 14 counties and 39 member districts.
At ECESC, we believe that students' strengths and interests are a blueprint to forging a future of success and impact, and we are on a journey to provide support and collaboration to schools as they implement career-connected learning for all students.
As part of this mission, we are here today to celebrate the amazing educators who help the students of East Central Indiana dream big dreams and achieve more than they thought possible.
Their work inspires us each day, and we want to lift up their stories and the stories of the students they are impacting and serving. Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast. My name is Pat Haney, Executive Director of East Central Educational Service Center. Co-hosting today with me is Lindsay Laverne, Instructional Specialist and Grant Coordinator here at ECESC. Hi, Lindsay. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Pat. I am so excited about our episode today because we have two of my favorites here with us. We are joined by two amazing student advocates from different districts in our region. We have Diana Arellano and Natalie Fredenburg. Both of them serve as work-based learning coordinators and career coaches for their districts, and we're so excited to talk with them today. Welcome, Diana and Natalie.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
All right. Well, I guess I will jump in and let's start with some introductions. Would love for each of you to tell us a little bit about who you are and your journey to becoming a work-based learning coordinator in your district. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your districts, and how you ended up in your current positions.
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and kick it off. Again, my name is Diana Arellano, and for nearly the past 20 years, I was in the classroom and served as an ag instructor and FFA advisor, and quite frankly, did not see this coming until it was pretty much right in my lap, and the opportunity did present itself. Started out probably like a lot of teachers, a one period a day doing work-based learning. We saw where it was headed and the need for more than one period a day. So the next year we were able to transition me to half-time in the classroom, half-time work-based learning coordinator. I'm now in my second year as full-time work-based learning coordinator and career coach. Here at Eastern Hancock, we are K through 12 campus with about 100 students per, sitting in a small rural area.
And I'm Natalie Fredenburg. This is my second full year, third year, kind of in the career coach position. We were a little bit ahead of the game in the career coach world. Before that was what the cool kids were doing. Tri-High had a career coach. I'm our second career coach, and what started as let's just see what you come up with has turned into quite the challenge. We are also a K through 12 campus. My background is animal science. I now have my MBA.
We're so excited to have you both on the show with us because both of your districts just have demonstrated great leadership over the past few years for our full cohort of districts that are exploring expansions to career coaching and work-based learning. And so just wanted to be able to share the message even more broadly and then dive in a little bit deeper with you today. So for those that don't know, because many of our listeners are, in the classroom, have roles that may be different to yours. Many districts don't even have a role that would be exactly like what the two of you do. So could you just give us a little bit of insight on what your role looks like in the day-to-day? What's a day in the life for you?
Day in the life for me. So again, we are a K through 12 campus. So I'm involved really in three buckets, if you will. One, I work with business and industry to help develop internships for our students. Two, I help place our students in internships that meet their needs in terms of career exploration or their pathways. And three, I also work with our teachers K through 12 in helping connect business and industry with what's going on in their classroom. We think it's important that What's happening in the classroom is relevant to what's happening outside the four walls of Eastern Hancock. So whether that's providing guest speakers, coordinating field trips, helping with passion projects, or maybe one of my favorites, we'll oftentimes take a teacher field trip. We'll just take a group of teachers, take them out to one of our business and industry partners, show them what's going on. And, when that student asks them, why do I need to know this math? They'll be able to, have a connection there as well. So that's kind of what I look like. My position looks like on any given day.
It sounds like there's a lot of communication needed for all of those pieces.
Absolutely, yes. And that's probably one of the advantages of being a small campus is that, we're able to maneuver that piece fairly well. I mean, most my students know me because they probably had me in the classroom or they're passing by my office every day. This is my 11th year at Eastern Hancock. And so, the staff is familiar with me and what my role or what my position, how I'm there to support or help them. So, yeah, communication is key.
All right. What about for you, Natalie?
For me, I wear several hats. On Mondays, I meet with each of our work-based learning students for a period, which one of those periods ends up being over lunch because we're trying to accommodate their schedule and their ability to work as many hours as they can. The rest of the week, I do different things with the career coach role, and I'm still wearing the responsibility of doing building relationships with local businesses, handling that communication and the documentation for work-based learning. But in the career coach role, we recently decided that it's either an immediate career after school or a career after college. So I do a lot with college prep and planning. I do some capstone projects, helping our students differentiate themselves with some specialty projects. And then also just even something as little as coordination of different extracurricular activities, just giving those experiences to build those resumes.
All right, that's amazing. And there's about 6 things that you all just mentioned that I want to do a deeper dive into. But before we get to that, we want to explore a little bit more of your why. What motivates you in helping students connect their education to future careers? What keeps you going just to really create incredible programs for students that are future focused?
Well, obviously, our why is our students. We can all agree on that. And the one thing that we know is that all of our students are going to end up in the workforce. So that's like a light bulb moment for me that we need to be preparing them for the workforce, whether that's directly into the workforce, whether that's a trade school, a 4-year college, serving in the military. It's preparing them to be successful there, preparing them maybe to stay in our community, preparing them to be a good citizen, staying right here in the community and just living a good, sustainable, happy, healthy life.
I love it. How about for you, Natalie?
I have always wanted to, I have a helping background. If you look at my RISEC, my number one is social. And if you look at my agilities, helping and developing others is what reaches at the top for me. And so really it fulfills who I am. But also, my goal for my students is to find a place where they're happy working. Often when they come and start work-based learning, they tell you their goal is to earn money. And I'm like, everybody has to earn money. So wouldn't it be great if you enjoy doing it?
Okay. Alongside that, you're both amazing and wonderful. You do great things with kids. What I heard you both say though is that those employer relationships are absolutely crucial to all of this as well. No matter how strongly you built your relationships with your students, you have to have that piece as well to connect them to real world experiences, to potential future careers. So what does developing those relationships with your local employers look like for you? How do you accomplish that? I feel like that's a piece that the listeners want to know. How do we make that happen at our own districts? What's the secret sauce?
You ask. If you ask how you can help them, what are their needs, they are hungry for good employers. They love to connect with the schools and develop those relationships. I'll often say that I want, instead of our business and industry partner calling up and saying, Diana, who do you have graduating that would be a good fit for us? They're already going to know because they've been in our buildings since and watched that student grow up. So again, it's connection, it's relationship, and it's simply asking how you can help them, and then they're willing to help you as well.
I think a lot of times employers, at least around me, don't know what the schools can offer them. It's been at Eastern Hancock a little bit longer than it has been in our area. But we have 25% of our juniors and seniors participating in work-based learning. So it is a very large group. They're very interested in being a part of it. And I just do the same. I try to set up a meeting. Once I set up a meeting and explain to them what we're doing, it generally results in some sort of relationship. Maybe not immediately, but within the year or so, it tends to come back up to them, and they're willing to give it a try.
I love that, and I think that employer engagement is something that for some districts it's new, and they are a lot of districts throughout our state and nationwide are trying to navigate that. So those insights are so powerful. So in addition to that employer engagement piece, though, I also want to dive into thinking about that career coaching. And if you think about your students and, from elementary into middle into high school, as we're starting to have career coaches throughout the state. Both of you are part of our career coaching network in East Central Indiana. But we don't have a long history of practice as career coaches. So as you have figured out this role and as you have made it work for your schools and for your students, what do you think is really important in the way that you think about career coaching and the kind of opportunities and conversations that you have for students to really make that impactful?
Well, we have the 3 E's in Indiana: the enrollment, the enlistment, and the employment. Kind of just grasps a hold of that really early on. So I have a personal relationship with all of our Army National Guard recruiters. They reach out to me and I schedule them to come in during the day. Same with the colleges. I coordinate those visits, and also just the Henry County college fairs coming up. I'll take a group of students to that, and then of course, with the employment, we have a career fair each year. And so I've really just tried to grasp a hold of all the different angles of the career coach position, and really just keep learning and adapting for that. There's a lot of continuing education. We have a career coach group of friends. We share things with each other and try to make it to those continuing educations. The way that things are changing and adapting, I think we need that. So keep building your own contacts through the career coach world. This year I made a change. They moved my office. I'm in a main hallway. Students can pop in during passing periods, and I think that availability has been really good. I've had several seniors just come in and take a seat in my office and say, I really need help. I don't know what major to go into. I think I know where I want to end up, but I don't know how to get there. And so availability and the ability just to keep learning it's required.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I think it's important. I think it's important for people to know that it's always going to look different in every building because your students' needs are different. Again, I'll go back to our phenomenal teachers. We ask them to embed and include careers in whatever curriculum they are teaching, and I'm there to help support them. But they do a fantastic job with that. I just had one of our kindergarten teachers stop me this morning, and she says, I got the 4 careers that we're going to go over, but I'm not quite confident, so I want to talk with you sometime. So I'm available to help with that. And again, like Natalie, I'm in a visible location in the hallway, and kids can pop in. And I mean, I help students part-time and after school jobs, students who are in work-based learning or old enough to be in work-based learning. I had a former student reach out today about a job. So our graduates that have gone on, I'm willing to help any of our students, regardless of what stage they are. And so are all the teachers within our building. It's pretty cool.
Okay, so you said something about your kindergarten teacher knowing the 4 careers she's going to cover. Say more about that. What is that all about?
So when we first, and career coaching, I mean, it's in its infancy, right? So we're just we're still, like Natalie said, it's growing and changing and evolving. But when we first started this, back with the 3 E's that Natalie mentioned earlier, we set up, we created this little grid with RIASEC, and within each letter, we listed some careers and then let our teachers either modify those or pick from those that would match up with their curriculum. So we didn't want to add anything extra to their plate, but if they were already, teaching a lesson on, if one of our ag teachers was already teaching a lesson on technology and farming, they can include something about, drones or a career in that area. So those are each of the teachers have some careers in their mind that they'll incorporate into their curriculum.
I love that. And it's such a smart way to approach it, thinking about trying not to add on to anybody's plate. At the same time, it increases the relevance because, career exploration to me automatically becomes less relevant when it's its own box. If you want to increase student engagement across all of your academics, that future ready piece has to be part of it, and you have to demonstrate that relevance in what you're already doing. So I'm so glad that you shared that.
Well, and I want to build on that. So a couple little nuggets that I heard there were first of all, it's a team sport. So it is about having that system, from the classroom, and across all grade levels, speaking a common language, and in having some similar goals and understanding. Because quite honestly, we could place career coaches in every school in the state of Indiana, but if it is only the responsibility of the career coach, to get to know students, to understand what their strengths and interests are, to help them become curious about careers that align with those strengths and interests, and start to provide some of these opportunities and experiences, that would be foolish to think that in any way, shape, or form one person can do all of that. So it's definitely a team sport. I'm curious if anything comes to mind when you think about how you lean on others and how they lean on you to bring that into your school districts.
Let's see. First of all, how do I want to say this? You can't underestimate the power of yes. So you need an administration who will say yes, okay, to any wild and crazy idea that you might have. And you have to let everybody in your building know what direction you're headed with this. And just be transparent. And if they want to get on the bus, let's get on the bus and go, and let's do this thing the way it needs to be done. So we're extremely fortunate here. Pat, I've heard you say it before, that you just mentioned it, but that when we're all in a room together with Eastern Hancock, we speak the same language. So So we're all on the same page, and we know what our, we know our why, and we know where we're going, and we may not know which roads it's going to take us down, but we're just going to keep traveling until we, get to that success. We want all of our students to be successful. High school isn't the end game. It's a launching pad. I've heard Dr. Phil Howard say it's a launching pad. So we want to, help our students be successful that day after graduation.
And we live on that path to purpose. That's kind of where we're going, what we're trying to accomplish with our students. As long as they have that fulfillment, that's our goal as a school. And we do it a little bit differently. We've tried a couple different things. Last year we did an advisory period. This year we have 6 different project-based learning classes that are doing some really interesting projects based around student and teacher interests. So we are constantly building that energy, I guess, trying to get more people involved and trying to help students explore different parts of their career interests.
In thinking about where each of you are in your work, it's new, it's fresh, it's still a little bit in its infancy. It to me, if I'm listening through the lens of a district that is not in this space yet, right? Like doesn't have someone in this role, then it feels big. It feels like you're down the road quite a ways from that. So what could you share to someone who's sitting in that seat where they're like, I resonate with your why. I don't know how to get there yet. What are some small steps that someone could take in terms of career coaching or setting up work-based learning placements? And then alongside that, this is a big question, so whichever part of it you want to answer. I'm also just thinking about, you have had a couple of years to learn and overcome challenges. So, what could you share so that someone else could be ready to start and maybe doesn't have to learn the same thing you had to learn because you can share it with them now?
Well, first of all, know that you have resources, including lots of Natalie's and lots of Diana's out there who are willing to help you. But the key is start small. That's absolutely what we did. I mean, we started kind of basically with one kid and one business, and it ended up being a success. He's still with that business today. We love to have him come in and tell his story. We love it. We have our first home football game tonight, and we love it when he shows up and he's driving his big fancy truck, and the kids are all like, "Wow, how did you get that? And how did that end up?" So you start small, and then you just scale it as you can. And second, you need to know your kids. We're fortunate that Mr. Barton and Dr. Phil Howard talk with every one of our students about what they want to do. And we keep it simply on a big old spreadsheet, and I have access to it. And, I can coordinate. I can work with business and industry that have interest to what our students have, whether that's work-based learning or whether that's bringing a new pathway into Eastern Hancock. We know from our spreadsheet, for example, 25% of our students are interested in healthcare. So we brought a healthcare pathway to Eastern Hancock this year. It's our first, we just kicked it off. So tailor it to know your students, tailor it to your students, and start small and ask for help.
And I also heard the power of stories. So
absolutely,
and we all have Lindsay and I were talking about that just maybe a week or so ago. We all like the great thing about this work is we all have a career story, and we all have, for those of us who are parents, we have the career stories that are developing for our kids, right? And so it's a connection that everybody has. And I hear so many people, including my own children, saying, "Man, I wish I would have had that when I was in school."
And the power of that story also pertains to the business and industry partner as well. As soon as they start telling their story, then that business next door says, how can I get in on that? How can I connect with Eastern Hancock? And it's a snowball effect. So Again, don't feel like you have to start big. Start small, know your students, and ask for help.
Love it.
For us, we did a small pilot year. It was actually a pilot semester because we started in the spring semester with just 3 students. It's messy. Work-based learning, teaching students to be employable. It's messy. It's messy for adults, but it's really messy for students because they're growing and learning what they love and more importantly, sometimes what they don't love. I always call it my brown bag. Sometimes I tell Diana I'm breathing into my brown bag right now with this big change. But giving students an opportunity to learn what they don't love is just as important as what they do love. And I think that if you're just starting out, I would recommend a pilot study. We did a pilot study for work-based learning. We did a pilot study when we started our project-based learning classes. Start small, work with a group of people that you work well with, and that way you're able to build that program.
Well, and that kind of leans into just in terms of thinking about work-based learning. A lot of as everyone is gearing up and launching into the new diploma requirements, the importance of work-based learning is certainly amplified. You all are ahead of that curve and already have such a large percentage of your students out in work-based learning experiences. But what what really makes a successful work-based learning experience? Because students can be, they could be out sitting behind a counter, just checking people in or getting coffee for people, or they could have a really powerful learning experience while they are away from you and in those placements. So what really makes a great, work-based learning experience, and any other stories, any student success stories of how work-based learning has impacted them? Diana, you shared one already, but just any others that come to mind.
So it truly has to be a mentor-mentee relationship versus an employer-employee relationship. And so part of that has to fall on Natalie or myself coaching our employers on what this will look like. Oftentimes you'll hear Mr. Barton or Dr. Philhauer say that I am the training wheels for our students who've probably never had a real job, and I'm the training wheels for the employer who's probably never had a high school student in their space. But I can't emphasize enough that it's a mentor relationship where they want to take on that student, knowing that they may or may not have an interest in that field eventually, and that their why is that student as well and the success of that student.
I think some of these spaces are starting to be defined too. There's limits to the amount of administrative work. Like you're not just supposed to send them to get coffee each day. And so some of those guidelines are available, like from Work and Learn Indiana, or from the EARN grant. You can see some of those resources. And then also, I think just like Diana said, with the students, you have to have people in that workplace that's willing to develop them. If it's a bad placement, it's probably going to crash and burn before your training wheels even get to hit the ground. So just laying that groundwork and knowing what is a good fit is a good way to start. I think we both use a similar requirement. We don't do fast food unless they're in some sort of leadership role there. We do not do just basic retail. It needs to have some other quality part. And then we try not to have them reporting directly to specific family members. We don't want mom or dad just to be calling them out of school for work. We want them to actually have an experience to be learning from. And I think with those basic guidelines, we've been able to set up several.
I think you have provided at least the right take your first step blueprint for folks in this. So we appreciate that so much. Before we get into our last question, I just want to open it up because you guys, you're both just such a wealth of information in this space and stories. Is there anything else that you would want to share with folks that we haven't touched on yet?
A group of young men at this particular site was doing this math problem that it blew me away. It is something, and those students would tell you that they probably wouldn't have got it sitting in the classroom, but when it was there and it was applicable to what they were doing with their job, it made absolute sense to them, and it was just so fun to watch that and see that, those are the types of things that are going to come out of this work-based learning thing and help students. The students today they're going to be amazing in the workforce.
I think you do just need to start somewhere. Like my first year wasn't even a full year. We started with what we called purpose chats, having representatives come into the school, sharing with students just about what they do, where they came from. And then we've built that. Last year, we did the Career Discovery Day and placed kids to do their career discovery interviews with 15 different industries. And so I think if you do just take that first baby step, you'll start to make those connections. This year, I've already had people reach out and ask to be a part of the Career Discovery Day. So if you do just take your time to do something, the rest will start to follow. Because like Diana said, these partners, they want to help our students. They know that's their future workforce. And the better that they can prepare them, it's beneficial for all of us.
And then like the picture on the wall behind you says, make it happen, right? I love it. That's great. All right, so we'd love to end with our favorite question to wrap up each podcast is to ask, what are you recommending right now? Tell us something that you would be excited to recommend to others. It could be personal, it could be professional, but what do you want to share or recommend with your friends?
I'm going to recommend a book that I read this summer. It's by Erwin Raphael McManus. It is a faith-driven book that challenges you to overcome your fears and to not only live your purpose, but do not leave anything on the table. It's called The Last Arrow. Don't leave one arrow left in your quiver by the time you leave this world. And if you want to, oftentimes I think we spend time figuring out what our purpose is, but then when we find it, we tiptoe around it, or we don't really dive in. But this is in your face. Get out there, get it done, and don't leave one arrow left in your quiver when it's all over.
And I've heard your superintendent say, don't you dare play it small.
Do not play it small. That's right.
I love it. Natalie, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is if you're going to read a book, read it in audio. I have two that I'm actually reading a second time. And one of them was a recommendation from Diana, and that was The Energy Bus. And then I went on to read The 7 Commitments of a Great Team. But I like them in audio because I'm really never sitting still. So if you see me with an earbud, I'm probably reading an audiobook.
All right. Well, we want to thank you both for joining us on the podcast today. More importantly than that, thank you for what you do. Thank you for leading the way in our region and in our state with this important work that is truly helping students think bigger about their futures and really developing that belief within them. So we could not be more grateful for both of you and for the work that you're doing and for your partnership with the Service Center.
We appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Forge Your Future podcast. We hope that this glimpse into the bright future of East Central Indiana inspires you and brings you hope.
We have the privilege to work with these future makers every day and want to share their stories throughout Indiana and beyond.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it with your circle and let's keep the conversation going.
You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on our website.
Until next time, remember that your strengths and interests are a blueprint to your future of success and impact.